Move back to the future.
I don't got time to hear about the criticism. Rap serial killer looking for another victim. Come and get your issue. We are rolling with the 9-bit slashing at you motherfuckers like a carry.
Whoa, what's up, everybody? It's your boy K with the AKA Mr. Getting It Done. We're here with a very exciting episode. Well, at least I'm excited about it, and hopefully you will be too. Well, actually, you will be when you hear who's in the building today. That's right, we got a special guest here on Getting It Done, and yours truly is just really humbled and very, very excited because it took a lot to get you here. I'm talking about none other than the big bad, in fact, the biggest thing in our sport, beyond fitness, beyond the larger realm of entertainment. We're talking about none other than the star of stage and screen and film and everything else. He's probably bigger than anything you've ever seen in your gym. The dude's about 400 pounds, 7 feet tall. I'm talking about none other than Martyn Ford, the actor extraordinaire. What's up, big boy?
Hey, buddy. How are you doing?
Thank
I
you.
hope you're well, and I apologize for the difficulty we've had to connect.
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of difficult. I know how it is sometimes. My people got to try to call your people, and when you get so large where you are, you just happen to have a lot of people and a lot of things pulling at your time. So, brother, I'm thankful to be able to have that opportunity. That you showed me a little bit of love, as one of the little people trying to get a little bit of what you got a lot of.
I don't think you're one of the little people I saw, but you know that.
We really wanted to get a chance today to if you would, just give us a little bit of insight of what it is like to be you, particularly from where you come from. I mean, now you're a shining star that's grown so far beyond where we are in our fitness industry, but understanding that you've gotten your humble beginnings with roots in this game that we know as fitness. I wanted to see if you would be so kind to share with the people how you got started.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, buddy, I think fitness has always been a passion of mine. It's been something that I've been able to really grasp onto and run with. I was never one who excelled at school when it came to academics, but anything physical, I always absolutely loved it, and it gave me a really good feel, good factor, and it was always a natural tendency for me to head towards the fitness route. And I think for me, because I enjoyed it so much and I got so much out of fitness, I could really sort of run that road and benefit from what fitness has to offer us all. And I think the way that I used my physical ability to break into film and to break into TV, it was down to let's not be kid anyone. It's always down to hard work, but there's always got to be elements of luck and opportunity and taking advantage of that. And I'm not naive to think that I'm anything special. I've just got very lucky at the right time, and just continue to work hard and keep my head down and stay focused. And I think training gives you that ability to stay humble, because at any one time there's someone ready to take over where you're at, and it really is a case of the same as the fitness world. You're as good as you are now. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow is you have to work for. So I think the fitness world gives you a really strong sense of hard work, focus, and determination, and gives you an ability to really excel in different areas in life and sport and work. To be honest,
I like the way you said that, because everybody doesn't start at one level of awesome output and ability to present excellence. And I know that when you got started, I think you were actually a lot younger. You actually started this in your youth as a preteen, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, fitness for me, buddy, was something that I started when I was, like 11, 12 years old. And I excelled at a certain sport. I used to do athletics, I did cricket, I did football, I did rugby, but I really excelled at one of these. And I remember going to an academy, and the coach basically said to me, he says, "You've got great skill, but you're fat." And he said, "You need to get fit." So from the age of 12, I was like, right, okay, fitness is really important if I want to be good at this and really, really, take full advantage of the skill set I've got. I need to put hard work into becoming an athlete rather than just someone who's skillful at a sport.
Were you?
And I think it really grew to me. It was like, well, if I put the hard work in, I put the time and the effort, there's rewards at the end of that. And I've just taken that through the whole of my career, to be honest.
Physically, as this 12-year-old prepubescent young man that got a chance to start developing the awareness of your physical prowess. At that time, 12 years old, what was that like? Were you a very visually impressive young person?
Not really. I mean, I was always quite tall and quite stocky. I was always a lot bigger than the other kids. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, I just enjoyed too many chocolates.
Oh, really? So you had a sweet tooth?
I was a bit of a chunky little baby.
Hey, for a quick question, how much did you weigh when you were born? Like, I know sometimes people will say,
I was like 11 pounds. My sister came out 13 pounds. So
11 pounds? 11? But did you say your sister was 13 pounds?
13 pounds, my sister, yeah. I was a mere baby compared to her. She was the heavyweight of the family.
Wow. But now, what does this help us put this into perspective a little bit, because we know about a lot of people will talk about genetics all day. You know, genetics. And a lot of times they'll talk about it with the absence of, or just with the ability to overlook the hard work. And what I hear you talking about right off the bat, right out the gate, is that you pay very, very close attention to working hard and work ethic. And as I just heard you say, it is your skill sets that really put you over the top with helping you become a better athlete. How did you get that? How did you develop that sensibility that would help lead you in that direction?
Oh, buddy, I hear people shout about genetics all day long, and don't get me wrong, I was born a certain height, and that was about as far as God went giving me genetic gifts, because I was born, I was born fast, and then I trained extremely hard, and as a young kid, and going through the pressures of teenage years, when you have all the imagery of like these athletes who look phenomenal, and then you have the pressure of having to be fit for sports. I actually, at a young age, ended up going anorexic, believe it or not.
Anorexic?
Yeah, I had a breakdown. So I had a really severe breakdown when I was like 19, 20.
Wait a minute. I want to get that. Did you say anorexia? I mean,
we're just in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was like I said, I excelled at this sport. Then for whatever reason, I never made it at that sport. I got a quite serious injury at the time. My granddad passed away. I'd split up with a long-term girlfriend. All of this had happened in the space of like probably 3 or 4 weeks. So I'd gone from having this promising career to a relationship and my family being all around me, and then losing one of the most important influences in my life very quickly to cancer. Then losing my career and then losing the relationship. It just hit me hard, but it was like one of them things where 1 minute you're fine, the next minute, boom. And for me, I dealt with that in a really bizarre way. So I was like, right, I'm going to become this ultimate, like, badass that just looks phenomenal. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, do that, do this. And you'll know this because of where you've been. You could follow a great diet and look phenomenal, or you could follow a terrible diet and look absolutely horrendous. Now, for me, I'd got to this point where I'd lost my career, but I'd loved fitness. So I was like, right, I want to look good, and I want to go down that fitness route. And I became very obsessed with diet, and I had so little knowledge and understanding. I mean, we're going back 15, 20 years now, buddy. So the content and the information wasn't out there. So basically what I'd done is I give myself the Atkins diet, and I was training like a sports person, doing 3 or 4 hours cardio a day. And within the space of a couple of months, I went from a healthy athlete to like this bag of bones. But I was so obsessed with following this diet that I'd actually given myself an eating disorder that I never realized, because I didn't want to give up. I was like, I'm not going to give up. Focus. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I took myself to a point where I went out shopping with my mom, and I collapsed. outside this shop. That's when I went to hospital and they're like, look, you've got an eating disorder. You're anorexic. Your body fat was something ridiculous, like 2%. They were on about putting me on a drip. They wanted me to see counsellors, and within like 48 hours, buddy, sort of this light clicked, and I was like, right, I need to eat. So good.
Wow.
So I sort of, from that point on, I realized that I have the ability to do whatever I want to do, whether it's good or bad. I have a switch point where I will follow something religiously and I will give 100%. And I think any athlete has that, but I don't think I'm special in having that. I think any successful athlete, whether it be in the fitness world, whether it be the sports world, they have that ability to go, right, okay, I will continue to do this until X, Y, and Z. If I'm going to be sick, I'm going to be sick. It doesn't matter. If I'm going to pass out. It does not matter. I'm going to carry on. Yeah, and I think any successful athlete has that. It's just built in us, to be honest.
It does sound like you have an extreme, a passion that can be expressed with connecting with the extreme. So your passion.
Yeah, that's been said.
well, you know what? It's funny because on the one hand, it's interesting because on the one hand, a lot of what people will identify as problematic and symptomatic of a compulsive kind of disorder.
Are you trying to say I'm compulsive and have issues?
Well, it's interesting because I think people that want to excel, almost have to have they have to be able to be connected with their passion. And it sounds like from a very earlier age in your sporting career that you were able to identify that for yourself and what it means for you.
I agree 100%. I think if you've got to be successful, you almost have to be obsessed with what it is you want to be successful at. And people will tarnish the word obsessed with negativity, but in my opinion, if you're going to be the best, you can only focus on that one thing, and it has to be day in, day out. You have to live it, sleep it, dream it, worship it, want it. And if you get to that point, then there's a chance that you're going to be the best ever to do it. You can't, same as you wouldn't do a show and that be your secondary goal. If you're gonna diet, or you're gonna do the show, or you're gonna do whatever sporting event it is, that has to be the only thing at that period of time that you're focused on that counts. If you're gonna be the best of the best at it, and that was the way I looked at training for me. It's like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. I'm not gonna do it at all because I don't want to come second. I've never wanted to be second. Second to me has no interest at all. I'd rather not do it, to be honest.
Second comes, well, I'm interested because I like to hear that. When you said what you just said about second is not good enough for you, understanding that you started this experience in developing your athletics early, preteen, we talk about 12 years old. And we understand that at some point between 12 and your early 20s, we can hear how you've discovered within yourself the ability to thrive at doing well or exceeding in the sport game by being able to stay disciplined. And we can also see that you talked a little bit about getting to a place where you were too disciplined almost, or disciplined to the extent where you were able to, have to suffer some consequences that would ultimately force you to maybe develop a better strategy with that. What I want to get for the people at home that are getting a chance to listen or that are driving and they get a chance, not every day, to, talk to, Martyn Ford, what was it for you that allows you between 12 and 21 to believe that it's so important to excel, to be so good? Why? What was it that said to you that I have to be really, really good at these athletics to to the fault where I could probably go to the extreme?
Do you know what, buddy? I don't know what it was. I hated losing, whether it be chess, whether it be Scrabble, whether it's football. I hated losing to the point where if I had to cheat, I would cheat to win. I used to play Scrabble with my nan. I'd have the dictionary in one hand. I'll be looking at the letters on the other, stealing them when she wasn't in the room. Right? Any sport, anything at all, I had to win. And I've just always been the same. Like, I'm talking from the age of 4 or 5 up until up until today. I still, if I lose, it just doesn't sit well with me, to be honest. Even if I'm playing against my kids.
And you are winning. You're winning so much that you have people like me and people that are listening now, looking to find that seed of increase that you can share with us to help us improve, to help us get a little better. What do you think is the most important thing that a person needs to have in an effort to begin their journey to that self-improvement idea?
Do you know what I think it is, buddy? Passion for life. They've got to want more. And I think in today's world we can be put off and people can say, oh, greed is not good and greed is not this, and being greedy for success is ugly, and being second is fine, and being average is good. And I think that the way the world's gone the last 10, 15 years for me, it just seems to be like everyone's made to feel okay because it's nice to feel okay. Whereas the person inside me is like, you need to do the best you can to be the best you can. And you've got to win. You've got to do this. And whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. It puts a lot of pressure on yourself to be a certain way 24/7 when you just always want something more, I think as long as you put it into perspective and as long as you're enjoying the moment as well, I think that's a healthy thing to have. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to be successful, wanting a better life, and wanting to look back when we are on our deathbed and say, I did that, and that, rather than saying I just accepted that I wasn't very good at anything. I just really feel like horizontal. For me, I've always looked up and I've always wanted to go further, and I don't think that'll change as I get older. I think it will just become different opportunities and different things that drive me on and motivate me. I think because I am someone who can suffer from depression and anxiety and stress, if I don't have constant goals and if I don't feel like I'm moving forward, that's when the voices in the head can start. There's no voices, but that's when you can start feeling down and depressed and negative on yourself and negative on life. And I think that's why I've always continually set goals and continually wanted to be bigger, better, faster, stronger. And I've never been someone to compare myself or to try and be better than someone else. I've never looked at you and gone, I want to be a better bodybuilder than Greene. Because it's different than happen. But what I do is look at the people and I'm like, okay, I want to be as successful as him with what he's doing, or I want to do that. And I use other people's success motivation for myself because I think, well, if they can do it, I can do it. The only difference is I applied myself properly if I'm not getting there. And obviously there's stuff that comes into play, whether it's genetics, finance, opportunity, age. But the moral of the story is you can always be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. And if you take that into anything, whether it's fitness, whether it's life, whether it's business, that continual improvement is going to lead you into a better place.
That is so well said. We have to definitely record that, freeze frame that, because that right there is so motivational and it definitely speaks in the direction of the limitless possibilities that are achievable when you feel connected with that. But I heard you mention a little earlier, even just knowing a little bit about some of your personal story, the disappointment and adversity that at another time in your sporting career was a very significant challenge for you. And it is at that time that you mentioned just a little earlier in our conversation so far, where you revealed the term depression and anxiety. And now for the people out there that are hearing what you have just said and are somewhat aware of, in a real sense of the word, what that means when we talk about dealing with the depression and anxiety, or or not just overcoming yet, but actually taking in that moment of challenge, obstacle, and in this case, as you mentioned, the adversity. What was that for you? And can you paint the picture for the audience so they get a chance to see that a little bit more clearly?
Yeah, I think to be honest, buddy, I think everyone throughout life is going to face a time of disappointment. They're going to face a time where they don't succeed at something. And it's failing for me. I think I've learned over the years that failing at something isn't the end of it, as long as you don't allow it to be the end. If you fail at something, then give up. Then that for me is going to eat at you for life. I think that was the problem I had as a sports person. I gave up that dream of being an athlete and walked away too easily. And then even to this day, I look back and think, I wish I'd never done that. But having that in me now drives me forward on other projects, because I'm like, I'm not going to let myself be beat up on that again. I'm not going to let myself stop. I'm not going to let myself quit. I'm not going to let myself give up. I mean, a prime example of this is I got that injury when I was 20, and because I came back to the sport and I wasn't as good as I was, and I wasn't playing first team, and I wasn't the shining star because of the injury and all that rubbish. I basically went, well, if I can't be number one, I'm just going to quit and I'll do something else. And I very blasé threw away a career that could have been a good career for me. And I was very good at the sport. And I always look back and think, what if I'd done that? What if I hadn't have quit? What if I hadn't have done this? Blah blah blah. Now, a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I had a slight issue where my stomach blew up.
Your stomach did what?
Yeah, we had a bit of an issue where we had a bit of a problem with the old intestines and my bowel. So I had 12 inches of small intestine removed and I had half my bowel removed. Now,
wow,
this was due to an operation I had when I was like 2-3 months old. I had an issue with my intestine when I was a baby. They operated on it. And basically what happened is the scar tissue had dislodged over the years and it slowly started to block up. So as I got older, that scar tissue basically caused the blockage, which I never realized. And over the space of a couple of months, it got worse and worse. And the stuff just boom, gone. So
wow.
I had emergency.
That's a life-threatening situation what you're talking about now. Life-threatening medical.
It wasn't the best of times.
Right, yeah, to say the least.
I was on the beach in Florida with my daughter, and I was standing on the beach, and I had this shooting pain in my heart. And I was convinced of a heart attack. I was like, "Wait!" Started sweating. Had to go back to the apartment. Went into the bathroom, sat on the toilet. Loads of blood came out. So that's not a good sign.
Wow.
Went forward. That came out my mouth, and then that continued to happen. And the end result was basically I had to get rushed into surgery.
Emergency.
Operation. But my point being, I had that operation in the peak of my fitness career. I was just coming up. I was looking great. I was at about 300. I think I was about 340 pounds and in shape. Felt phenomenal. It was the best I've ever looked. It was the best I've been. I've just finished filming Final Score with Batista and Pierce Brosnan. I was on another TV show. I was about to shoot a massive Hollywood film, and overnight, boom, again, career, boom, done. All my films I've been hired for because of how I look. So I've come in, the one day I've gone into hospital, I was 340 pounds.
Right.
8 weeks later, I was lucky if I was 200 pounds.
Wow.
My muscle had just gone boom.
Mm.
It was the worst feeling ever, because I finally gone from losing my career as a cricket player to building this career in the fitness industry and in film, to all of a sudden again being in that position where it's like, well, you've lost it because of this.
Right.
And what I'd learned from when I was a teenager was that if I don't give myself every opportunity to get back, I'm never, ever, ever gonna get over this. So for the last 2.5, 3 years, all I've been doing is trying to get back to where I was, and I'm finally there after continually working on my digestive system and the ability to digest food again properly, because obviously my intestine issue, building that muscle back up slowly. I'm finally back where I was.
Wow.
We're shooting films again. I feel good. I feel great. I feel healthier than I've ever been. So I think you learn lessons through life where failure isn't always a negative thing, as long as you learn from it and you learn how to overcome it and use it as a lesson. I think if you can use failure as lessons, you can progress forward from failure. If you don't learn anything from it, it will send you backwards.
Was there something that added to, or I guess what would the for lack of a better term, something that exacerbated or brought that problem on at the time that you were on the beach? Was there something that you was doing?
With the stomach, do you mean?
Yeah, with the stomach.
No, not really. I mean, obviously, I was a fairly big guy and I used to eating, crazy.
A lot of meals, obviously, a lot of meals a day, but
yeah, I mean, it could have added to it. But when I went into surgery, they said it's just one of them things that happens. It's nothing you've done with training or eating or your lifestyle. It was just one of them. It was just one of the things. I mean, Eric from Raycom, he's had exactly the same problem. So, it's one of them things where it's just life, unfortunately, buddy. I had an operation when I was a tiny kid, and it came back to haunt me. So there was nothing I've done or did or could have changed to have prevented it. It was just one of them things. I think I've got. What do you want? With animals or children, guy.
Yeah, I totally understand. This is dope because we don't normally get a chance to have the cameo appearance. We get a little sneak peek of the father at home.
This is real life, buddy.
Yes, and you know what? That is a privilege and a benefit. I mean, honestly, I one of the things I feel like I never have gotten a chance to do yet, that you are ahead of me. Just having a child, just having your family is, and you got it in right perspective.
You never want one, buddy. I've got 3 of them. I can send them over.
You are definitely on top of life. You are on top, and definitely for us.
Mate, you just be ready when you have them. Make sure you're ready for them. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I would totally hear that. I would at this time in my life, I would take that gladly, as a badge of honor and a responsibility that I would just be so thankful for. It's awesome to see that, and particularly at the time in our exchange today, where you were just sharing with us this moment of crisis, an account for that experience, and to have noted that you actually bumped into that right while experiencing an awesome moment on the beach, with your daughter. Which
it was actually her. It was her that was with me. There's a wee little nip in it. But yeah, I think we all experience things that really give us a foundation for life and really can make or break you. And I think that's just a different. Again, I'll go back to the sporting world. I think fitness and sports just give you the ability to believe in yourself and believe in a better outcome. And they teach you that if you don't stop and you don't quit and you keep coming back tomorrow, you will improve. And I think that's why I love fitness so much, to be honest, buddy, because it's the one thing that you can, no matter how rich you are, how poor you are, where you live, what you do, you can always excel on in fitness or in the sporting world. And it gives every single person out there the opportunity to feel good about themselves.
When we think about some of what it took behind the scenes in the earlier time in your life, as you were on the road to developing some of these very strong pieces of wisdom in the development of your athlete in your earlier career, and then, that you would use to overcome the unfortunate situation that would occur at the end of that, when you kind of had to reassess things. Who were the influences that made the difference in laying down some of those seeds that allow you to become or help with becoming the man that you've
become? I think I have different influences through life. I mean, my mom and dad have always been a very strong influence in a lot of the stuff that I do, just to see them, the way that they've never give up, and they never had it easy, and they've always worked hard, and they've always stayed a team and stayed strong and just continually push on and push on. And also my grandparents, I mentioned my granddad earlier, he was an absolute warrior when it came to family and hard work, and he used to make me graft, Kai. He used to make me work.
Really? What did he do? You said an absolute warrior when it came to family. What is that?
Every job you can imagine he did. But he used to drag me on me. He was a valeter on the weekends as well. And he was a truck driver, valeter. He used to work in different shops. He was just a grafter, Kai. He was just a hard worker. And he used to drag me along. I was probably 7 or 8 at the time. He used to get me up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, take me to work with him. I remember he used to have toast wrapped up in tinfoil. I'd be freezing cold. He'd make me go and wash the cars with him. He'd make me do this and that. Make me get paid for it. And all of this stuff is definitely what helped mold me and make me into the person I am today. Having that influence growing up, having strong influences in my life, especially family as well, that I could look to and see like how hard they worked and what needed to do to be successful. And I don't mean a monetary. My family were never wealthy, but they definitely had a lot of love and care and time for each other and worked so hard as people. That was a very influential upbringing for me. And as I got older, I looked into different sports, and there was different sporting people. There was a rugby player called Jonah Lomu, who was a New Zealand lad. He was a massive influence to me. He was just an absolute warrior that never gave up. He died at a young age of cancer, I believe it was, or something like that. Yeah, he was an absolute superstar. And then there was other sporting successes. And then as I finished the cricket career, I got more into the fitness side. And then there was just different. It was bodybuilding just really sort of grabbed me, to be honest. And I think the reason bodybuilding grabbed me was because, one, the guys looked so different and so extra. And for me, it was like, I like to stand out. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like the face tats. And I like having that.
I got the joke.
So I think having the ability to turn yourself, especially going back 10 years ago in the UK, bodybuilding wasn't about as much like it is now. It wasn't mainstream. So I really wanted to grasp and go, right, I want to be different. I want to grow. I want this, I want that. So then I started getting into the bodybuilding world. And I remember seeing this young, very good looking, charismatic, what's the word I'm looking for?
Charismatic? Was that the word? Or
which one?
Was it charismatic or?
That's the one.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm following you.
I was at Emporium Gym, and then you walked through. And And I walked straight past you. I think you
Funny
were
guy.
training with, is it Dana? Lim Bailey? Have I
Yeah,
got that
Dana
right?
LaValle. Yeah.
You were training with her. And I've never been to a bodybuilding show. I've never been to Body Power. I've never been anywhere. And I remember going into the gym and it was absolutely rammed. And I walked in, I was like, whoa, who are all these dudes?
No
And I
way.
remember seeing you, and you were the first bodybuilder I've ever seen, like a real bodybuilder in the flesh. And I remember looking and going, I might as well give up bodybuilding.
No way. That
But I
no.
grasped
Wow.
onto my back in the day. There was yourself, there was Flex Lewis, and there was who else? Dennis Wolf.
Oh yeah. The
The
wolf, big
oldest dude.
bad wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I was just like, wow, these guys are phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
but you were all like so unreal and unusual to look at and to watch, and that's what really grasped me then. And I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna. At that point, I'd really fallen in love with bodybuilding.
Wow.
But then I got to the point where I realized I was never going to be able to do bodybuilding because I just didn't have, I didn't have any balance, any symmetry, any of that. But I still
Ah,
loved it. I loved the sport, and that's when my influences changed. To be honest, I think it
really?
was probably about 7, 8 years ago. It was just before you blew up, and I think it was probably one of your first or second trips to the UK. Um, and that was the year there was Brian Shaw was there as well. I remember
Oh
walking
yeah.
in. It was a good year, and to be honest, that was one of the best eras for the sport in the UK that we've had, and it'd be nice to try and get that passion back over here. To be
Wow.
honest, and
That
really try and
that was a
grasp that.
beautiful time. That's awesome. That you just reminded me of a whole nother experience in the wow, man. That is amazing. You even paid a compliment to Dennis Wolf, who was a gentleman athlete. You know, he retired from the sport, but he pays you tremendous compliments all the time. And like, you know, he would be so I know him personally. He would really be so honored just to have heard you say that. That is
Yeah,
the
man,
compliment that you made.
he was definitely one of the guys I looked at, and it was there was the Ronnie videos, there was the J videos, your video, all of that was going back 10 years ago for me. It was just when the interest in bodybuilding really sort of took that next level. And you know, I think a lot of you guys don't realize how much influence you have on the kids coming through the generations, and how much responsibility you have as well as athletes and role models. And I think you've done, especially you, buddy. I think you've done a tremendous service to the sport and given it more energy and giving it a likable feel, if that makes sense. Because I think the problem with the sport is, as you know, it can be a very negative sport. It can be painted as a very negative
Mm,
sport,
mm,
and it doesn't help that the whole diet, the lead up to the shows, and
mm,
people are drained and tired and fatigued, and
mm.
it can be a sport where, especially if you're in the trenches and you're day in day out, it can be something that's quite intimidating and put a lot of people off. So I think guys such as yourself have done so much for the sport and continue to do so much for the sport that you should really appreciate, and take in just how much of an influence you have on the generations coming through.
Wow, you are spoken like a gentleman and true steward and just a prime ambassador for a lot of really, really good ideas. I want to go back because you had just said something that was just, you said that bodybuilding it gets a bad rap,
Mm-hmm.
and the selfishness part of some of this can allow it to be seen in some varied but negative ways. One of the things that I really appreciate so much about having had this opportunity to be just graced with your willingness to give us this interview today, is the fact that your testimony, everything that you have said, with the opening of our hour here, you said that you wanted to do better, and you took to the sports in an effort to develop yourself in that way. And you did not rely on just genetics and those things. And in an effort to do that, I appreciate also hearing you have said earlier in the description of your grandfather and how you described your grandfather as a warrior for the family. The fact that you describe him as a man that worked very, very hard and had many, many jobs. And as you did that, it became so clear with everything that you said that influence was real, and it went a long way in influencing you to become the positive image and influence that you are. Your recognition of where the sport is, or where what bad rap a sport can get, or subculture, for being selfish or whatever, I think is like cast to the side by the actions that not only you demonstrate, but even in all that you said in your interview today. I wish I were a professional interviewer. However, the things that you have been able to share with us in our experience, even thus far, without even, because your success is still opening. You still, even though you've probably been by this point in probably more than 20 films, you are a bright, shining actor tearing up the scene, and you've spoken more about the contribution of other people and the help that it gave you to inspire and continue to push and not accept mediocrity. I love it.
I don't think I don't know about you, buddy, but for me, I never feel successful. I never feel like I've achieved anything, because I always want more. Like when I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I did that, I did this, I did that, I did that. And I've done some big projects. I was on Fast and Furious 9. We've just filmed The Nevers, which has just been launched on HBO. I'm doing a massive TV show at the moment. So the projects are proper projects.
Wait, you said the Fast and the Furious, like the Fast and Furious franchise. That's That's the
that's quite cool, isn't it?
Dude, that's monumental by itself.
Yeah.
How did you get that? How did that happen?
I don't know.
Wait. Did you go on an audition? Did you have to walk into the audition and say, "Hey, man, let me take off my shirt. I'm Martyn Ford," or did that audition come to you, or did the role just find you?
They came to me. They came to me and asked me to audition for a role.
Mm-hmm.
I auditioned for it, and then they phoned me up and said, "You starting work in May the 2nd or whenever it was," and that was that. It was the most surreal couple of months of my life working on that film.
Why you say that?
Seems like a long time ago now. We shot it like 18 months ago, I think it was. Obviously, because of COVID, it's been delayed on the release. But it's just, I think for me, I still feel like I'm really at the start of this journey, and I'm just starting to enter the film world. I've been in 5 years now, coming on 6 years, but because of my illness, my stomach issue, and then obviously because of COVID, I've really only had 2.5, 3 years working full time in the industry, and that's do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm starting to come through the ranks now. I'm starting to get better offers, better roles. So I think a big thing is to try not to get carried away and try not to become too big-headed and too egotistical, and just appreciate the opportunities you get, and just keep working hard and keep staying focused, and using good, people around you, and having good friends and having good influencers who are doing just that. Like you're one of the most successful bodybuilders that we've seen, and you're still one of the most humble people around, and that for me is why I'll always have to love you, and I'll always look up to you as a leader of the sport and other athletes in the sport. And I think that's so important to have a good circle around you to stay balanced and stay focused.
You're an amazing gentleman. I'm taking notes. I'm just letting you know I'm taking notes at how you do this, because your star power is amazing, but your humility and just your graciousness is just second to none. I want to touch back on what you just said, though, because you're talking about being at a place in this career that is still for you just starting, even though you have some tremendously high credits already to your credit, with the films that you've been, that you've been working on. Even now, quiet as kept. I ain't gonna blow up anything. I ain't gonna say nothing, let no cat out the bag. But you're still working on a big, amazing project as we speak, which created some kind of scheduling issues, which made us very lucky for us to even have this opportunity to get this exchange with you. But I wanted to go back to something real quick, because you just said you're getting better roles now. Now, for somebody outside, somebody that's not, they're probably tuning in or just tuned in, and they understand, wow, I'm talking with Martyn Ford. I get a chance to hear. If I were there, Martyn Ford, what do you consider to be a better casting role today in your career than you did or than you experienced earlier in the first part of your acting career to date?
I mean, to be honest, buddy, it's not so much that the films are bigger or the films are better, because I've done some massive films.
Yeah.
It's just that the character is more in depth. There's more dialogue. There's more meaning to the roles. The series that I'm shooting at the moment it's an absolutely huge production, and my character's developed. He's got dialogue. He's got a fantastic scene. Working with two phenomenal actors.
Don't say too much, because you can't let not more than that out the bag. We don't want to get no trouble now.
I don't know why they haven't announced it. They're probably going to cut me from the.
No. You didn't say we wouldn't even let that happen. We wouldn't because your success is our success. To see you get up there and to see you shine as brightly as you are doing, man, you are liberating us all, and you encourage us all to aim, to believe, and to want to reach a little higher, and that is also how you, I don't want to say inspire, because sometimes, when we say inspire, a lot of times people will think that that's work for someone else to do for you, but I will say that you are an example that's amazing, and I really appreciate that. But this acting role, this you said there's more dialogue for your character, and that is representing you progress with your career.
That's how I progress. That's how I judge my progress now.
Mm-hmm.
Is we've got to the point where my agent's turning down opportunities where it's just fight scenes, or it's just the big guy that comes in and gets beat up and thrown around, or scares people, because I genuinely want to become an established actor. I want dialogue. I want lead roles. I want opportunities to do this. So we've had to be very picky with the opportunities that we take. I think we've turned down to like 6 or 7 roles the last couple of months.
Wow.
Just because it's not the right opportunity to take. We're trying to keep going up and up and up, and not to go down or sideways. So it's something that seems surreal to this point still. Having this as a career seems very odd. Like when people that don't know you ask you what you do for a job,
right?
And to require as an actor just sounds a bit weird.
Oh, you can act, huh? Well, act. Let me see act. I've seen people do that. Yeah.
Just do some that. I'm a personal trainer.
So you would say that in an effort to even just avoid the scrutiny with the conversation.
Yeah, I do. Well, you know what it's like. I mean, people. I remember going on holiday, and I was away last year, and someone asked me what I did, and I was like, I don't believe you. I was like, well, Google it. And then it was, you're just arrogant. And I'm like, I'm not arrogant. I was just saying Google it. And it's that kind of just awkwardness, I think, because you sort of, I'm at that in between stage where certain people know who I am, other people haven't got a clue, and it's that going through the ranks, and it's like for me, it's when you said about success, I don't feel like I've got anywhere near where I want to get to, or to be honest, feel like I'm going to get to. I've just got to. I need to stay optimistic. I need to stay focused and on track, because that's what stops me from getting depressed and stops me from feeling negative about myself or about life situations, because I've always got a reason to wake up tomorrow, and I've always got a reason to go into the gym. I've always got a reason to learn and to grow and develop, because some days it's not easy. Some days it's hard. This week I'm training on a double split, so I'm training morning and nighttime, just to try and get ready for filming on Friday. And it's absolutely killed me, but I know in the back of my mind, come Friday, I'll look and feel fantastic. So that's what gives you that constant extra bit of energy that you need to take that step up.
Have you ever found it difficult to train when you didn't have a goal like that coming up, like a reason for a new part or a new character or a new costume to put on, something that kind of made your effort in the gym have more immediate meaning?
I've never found it difficult to train. However, there's a difference between turning up and training and turning up and training hard. There's a big difference there. I love the gym. It's for me, it's my escapism. If I don't go to the gym, I have issues. Really, you can start to affect me. I can have one day off, and that's it. I need that training session. I need to get rid of stress, and I need to just feel like I'm progressing or doing something. And that's just who I am. I understand it. I recognize it. I know it's probably not a good thing. I know it can bring overtraining and it can bring this, but for me, on a mental health side, it just stabilizes me and keeps me balanced. So I need to have that hour a day where I can train and just release and come out of the gym and just feel good. But then there is a difference between training with a purpose and just training for that release. And at the moment I'm training with a purpose, and this is where it gets hard. You're talking force sets, drop sets, time and attention, all of that jazz. And to do that, I think you do need a goal. I don't think you can train like that and on restricted calories just for no reason. You need a goal. You need a purpose.
Now, this is not a concept that's very foreign for you, because I imagine that with some of the other roles that you've done over the expanse of these years now, developing your acting career, that you've had to not only train for the physical look, but then also, I imagine you've done a lot of your own stunts, and the fight work, has been you.
All of them. There's not many stunt doubles that look like me, mate. So every single film that I've shot, I've done all my own stunts, all my own fight scenes, and some of them are so intense and so demanding that I'm nearly 40 now. I'm putting that much pressure through your body when you're 350 pounds. It's no joke. You really do feel it. But at the same time, I think because we've paid so much attention to nutrition and training and recovery and just being healthy, it gives us that longevity and the ability to overcome whatever we decide to take on, to be honest.
How has some of the past tense of I understand you even while in India, you prepared to get on stage and mix it up a little bit. What are some of the things that experience brought you that will help enhance your acting career going forward?
Just confidence and having belief in yourself. I think when you put yourself into an environment that gives you a challenge, you automatically grow. And I think that's what a lot of people are too scared to do. I think a lot of people play it safe. And a lot of people are scared to put themselves in a vulnerable position. And that for me has led to the most success. The worse the fear, the bigger the reward.
with saying something like that, I have a question for you that relates to your acting. Is there a role that you would not play that isn't? I heard you say earlier that, hey man, there's some roles we're not going to do right now because it would be take my career in the wrong direction as far as, doing things that are more meaningful, growing into the more substantive characters with the deeper backstories that are offered and more dialogue, more responsibility for you as an actor when performing in front of the camera. But with saying that, are there some roles that you wouldn't think about accepting just because, even though they offer more dialogue, even though they offer more, but let's say the reach would be, let's start to be like too extreme. Like, and let me explain, because me, I would have killed to be like the pink power. I'd have been a pink Power Ranger, just to get on any one of those major sets that you've been on. But with saying that and understanding what I would do, if I had half of the opportunity that you're like, just you're living in a whole nother universe now of opportunity. My question to you is there a role that you would reject with your management now?
I mean, I think there's certain roles that I probably wouldn't take if they were offered. I have 3 young children as well, so I wouldn't want to do anything that would embarrass them or put them in a position of being awkward.
Right.
Because whatever you release nowadays, you remember this stays around forever. It doesn't disappear. With online and so on. So there's certain roles that I probably wouldn't take. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking. But it would have to be the extremes of the extreme. Do you know what I mean? It would have to be something that, for instance, if it was to be like a gay role, I could play a gay person. I don't know if I could kiss a man. You know what I mean? There's certain stuff like that there. I just don't think I'd be able to do it. I could pretend to be gay. With one would probably be a step too far for myself. But with that being said, I don't need to get enough of this part anytime soon anyway, so I don't need to worry about it.
Wow.
I can't think of any other role that would make me feel weird, to be honest.
Right, I totally get it. But with saying that, I think the question actually allowed me to start to think about how I would think about roles and what roles opportunities I may get, and every actor would have to think about that. What you would turn down versus what you wouldn't. And just as you just so articulately and clearly said for us, hey, but writing, because there's some character roles that technically you may believe inside of yourself, I think I could do a really good presentation of this said subject matter. However, to think sometimes that a Hollywood office or that a production staff or casting so and so would turn around and say, you know what, I want to see you do this, and you know what, I'm going to invest the money to put it behind putting you on the marquee to do that. And so sometimes I guess I would imagine that even the things that I may want to do and maybe even have to reach for, like, what are the things, that's a good question, I think. What are the things that represent the acting roles that you want? What are some of the things that you have to do that you recognize now that you would have to build for if they do exist within your skill sets currently?
I think accents are one. Working on accents is definitely something that I could probably spend more time on doing. Nothing in the acting world really phases me or intimidates me. I genuinely do enjoy doing it all, and I'm a very confident person now. I wasn't at all. Like 5-6 years ago, it was the most intimidating thing ever. But as you go through it and you learn more and more and more, I think the self-development is a very natural occurrence on the film set. And you learn from other people, you learn from other actors, and you learn from other performers.
Mm-hmm.
So you sort of you do learn a lot on the job as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely learned loads watching other people perform and watching other actors. Um, but going back to the question, I think accents is probably the one thing I need to work on next.
Wow, I didn't even think about that, but immediately once you said it, yeah, that does make sense. I would.
You're lucky you've got an American accent from birth.
Wow, wow. But I think you could do a really good American accent.
Well, I can try. I mean, I haven't worked on it. To be honest, up until this point, I haven't been asked to do it, so it's not been an issue. But
Mm.
it'll be definitely something that I want to look at getting into and paying more time and attention into. But it's just like anything else in life. You know, you can't do everything at once. You've got to progress through through the ranks and just really focus on individual skills that can help progress you in the long run.
In the long run, since you bring that up, in the long run for you, do you see writing? Do you see yourself directing?
I did. I had this conversation with a director a couple of years ago. He was very keen to see me get into this because we shot a film. It was a great film to work on, and I remember just giving him a few of my ideas for this particular scene that I had, and David was just like, you should really get into writing and directing and trying to go down that route. But for me at the moment, I think I've got enough to focus on and learn with the acting side. Mm-hmm. I mean, to get down the writing and directing is a whole different, a whole different level of skill set. Mm-hmm. And life experiences as well. I think you need to have a hell of a lot of life experiences to have that ability to write and ability to create interesting topics.
Well, I mean, dude, there's no one more creative and interesting than you've revealed yourself to be. And every day you're continuing, as you said, to develop and learn new skill sets and to command them, with greater and greater depth as you continue to go along. So I would imagine that, yeah, something like that would very easily be on the horizons for things to expect from you, Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely something that there's definitely opportunity to do something out there. But maybe I'm a little bit older.
Oh, yeah, well, absolutely. Right now, we're definitely working in celebration of what you've been able to do so far with the creation of this very bright and promising and just amazing unfoldment of a career that is going down, happening right now. I really wish we could have made the announcement, but I don't know, and I won't say. I'm very proud of you, man, and I'm very, very excited for just, how awesome, the horizons look for you in the development of your career as an actor, as the growing and developing success that continues, obviously well beyond our sporting experience and our fitness industry. And with that said, I mean, you again, inspire and encourage every one of us that look to you, as the example of what it looks like to be where you are, shining your star and sharing it with everyone. Is there anything that you would like to say, though? Like, your mission is important, and I know I've gotten a chance to see and understand that you are still in the process of unfolding your life mission and with an effort to do the greatest amount of good with the example that you represent. Is there a word that you would like to share right now, with the viewing audience that would help to further that?
Yeah, I think for me, what's important now, especially being a father, is really I'm at that age where I look back and we touched about this earlier, having influencers and role models, and I think it's so important for people of our age and our position to really take in how important it is and how much responsibility you really have as an adult trying to guide the next generation and the youth, not just in fitness, but in life, because we're in such a position, especially with this pandemic, of negativity. And it just seems like there's so much bad influence and negativity around all of the world at the moment. There's been so much tragedy the last 12 months that I think it's time that we took responsibility and really tried to paint a better picture for the future and try and show that hard work, dedication, commitment, and focus actually has rewards, and how important it is to work together as people and not be selfish and not be lost in your own success, and also actually care about your friends and family and the people who are the closest to you. And I think that's something that I think we should all look at. It doesn't matter who you are or what job you've got. Every single one of us is an influence on someone,
right?
And just trying to make that influence a positive one.
Brother, you have been a tremendously powerful and positive influence on me and us today. I am very, very thankful for the fact that you made time for us in your very, very busy schedule. I stand in what do you call it when someone is in the deepest of gratitude. You have definitely helped me tremendously today, brother. Do something that is very important to me.
Don't ask me for words. I'm useless when it comes to big words, buddy.
Well, you got enough of your big words, brother, and you are using them as you inspire everybody, myself included. I thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to have this interview.
Absolutely humble, buddy. I really appreciate everything you've done today and in the past for myself on a selfish point, giving me motivation and been so friendly and welcoming when we've met before. So thank you, Kai. I'm much appreciated.
Now, we're going to have to hang out, though. I mean, like, sometime, in between all of the spectacular stuff you're doing, at least get something to eat.
I'm trying to get out. Hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I can get out there if we're allowed to fly and do some workout out at the Recon 1 gym. So I'll teach you how to do some training. That's no problem.
Yeah, you know what? We'll put a pin in that, bro. We'll put a pin in that. We're going to make some magic happen. I appreciate that. I look forward to that. And then we'll get maybe a steak dinner. I don't know what your calories will be like, what you'll be preparing for at the time, but we definitely put a point to do that then.
Sounds good to me, brother. Sounds good to me. Well, you have a blessed day.
Likewise.
And I will speak to you all soon.
Martyn Ford, my man. I like this. This is so dope. All right. So on that note, we are out.
Move back to the future. I don't got time to hear about the criticism. Rap serial killer looking for another victim. Come and get your issue. We are rolling with the 9 fist, slashing at you off, feels like a carry you.